Hi, my name is Rebecca Waters, and I'm here today with author Carole Brown. And I'm so excited to be working with her today and have her on our program. She is an award-winning author. She's a best-selling author on Amazon. And I know Carole through an organization called American Christian Fiction Writers. I've been really excited to have this opportunity to get to, not only for me to get to know her better, but to introduce her to all of you. Hi, Carole.
Hi, Becky. It's good to be here.
Good. I'm glad to have you. Now, Carole, you've written a lot of books. You've written, what, 11 books? And I know that you're in an anthology that we were both in called From the Lake to the River. That was pretty exciting. I was wondering, one book that highlights, I think is a highlight for me, is The Redemption of Carole Hayman. And I know that it's a very intense and powerful book. You won awards for that book. I was wondering if you would, well, first of all, give us a brief view of that book, maybe the back cover blurb or something like that.
Okay. Carole Hayman is angry and bitter over the abuse and death of her 11-year-old daughter at the hands of a radical religious cult, the Children of Righteous Cain. So when her husband, a founding member of the cult, suffers a massive heart attack, Carole allows her husband to die. Carole's secret seems safe until Dane McFarland returns from college. Determined to learn the truth about the Klan, Dane's investigation and his rekindled love for Carole lead the pair toward a confrontation with Klan leaders. Can Dane's love for Carole bridge the gulf of anger and bitterness that divide the community, or will Carole's deadly secret prove too high a price for her redemption?
Wow. I knew it was intense. I knew it was a very powerful book. How did you come to write that? What was the story behind the story?
The story behind the story is my husband. We keep up on a lot of news events. And when the story in Texas about the cult down there made the news, then my husband suggested, when I was searching for a new topic to write about, he suggested that only bring in a woman who is out for revenge. And I wrote the story, but he was there for every bit of it as I read it to him, as I wrote it, to give his suggestions or his thoughts about what I've written. So he was kind of my right-hand man on that one.
Well, that's good. It's always nice to have somebody like that with you and behind you. And that's a tough story to write. You write about a lot of mystery and suspense stories, and you always have a little hint of romance, I think, in them as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your writing journey? How you came to even want to be a writer?
As far as back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a writer. I didn't exactly think of it that way. But I remember in grade school, I would use my imagination when we had to get up in front of the class and tell different things. And I remember how much the other children would clap or show their approval of what I would say. And then on into my high school years, one of my best friends and I would sit through study hall when they had that then and write sad poems and things like that would show our creative moods. And then we'd write short stories. I wrote children's stories through several years. I took a writing course in children's literature. And so then when my husband and I got married, we were busy in our ministry, but there came a time when I talked to Danny and I told him, I said, it's time now for me to seriously pursue my writing career. And that's when I found an agent. I went back to school and learned the new rules of writing and took classes. And so that's when I was at a writing conference in North Carolina, I talked to Eddie Jones, and he asked me to have my agent send the redemption story to him. And that's the first, my debut.
Wow. Wow, that's great.
Novel.
You said you went back to school to learn the new rules of writing. What did you mean by that?
Well, things change through the years. Double spaces after your sentences, that was a no-no. Different words, like too much usage of adverbs, and then being able to learn how to tell in a character's point of view,
Mm-hmm.
and different things like that. I needed to brush up on those things and be able to create. I wanted to be able to write where I could show a lot of sympathy, empathy for my characters. I wanted them to be alive, where people felt like they were right there in the setting. And so different courses and different things, practice, all of that helped me to learn to be a better writer.
Excellent. So when did your first book publish? How long have you been actually a published author? You've been writing all your life.
Yeah. The Redemption book was published in September of 2013.
Okay.
So that was my first book
Excellent.
to be published.
Okay, what are you working on now?
I'm working, I have 2 books coming out this summer, or one the last of May and then one in the summer. And the one in May is the 5th book of my Appleton series. And it is called The Golden Touch. It's a cozy romantic mystery. And then the next one is the first book in a suspense series. It's don't want to tell you too much about it right now till I get ready to start pre-promoting it. But it's the first book in the nursery rhyme series, and it's a suspense book with just a touch of romance in it. The romance will carry through 3 books, but the suspense will end after each book.
Okay, it sounds interesting. And there are a lot of nursery rhymes out there. You could keep going forever. That's sort of like the gal who wrote all of the A through Z, you know, the alphabet series. So you could go through a long way with nursery rhymes. So what's on the horizon?
Yeah, well,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We'll see how I feel after 3 books.
Okay.
Of that series.
So when you're not writing, what do you enjoy doing most?
Oh, being with my family, going on vacations, hiking, visiting different local areas, scenic areas. I love being with my grandsons and family, my boys. We usually schedule a few vacations every year. That's one of my favorite things to do. I go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, do your family members ever see themselves in characters in your book?
Yeah, I think they do. A lot of times I kind of adjust their names. I don't always put their full name in there, or I might use a middle name or something like that. And I even use some of my friends' names in it. One of the young girls I put in one of my books, she wanted me to let her die. I said, no, you will not die in this book.
Well, my only request then is if you ever use my name, please don't make me a villain.
That makes me tempted to do so.
Carole, it has been wonderful having you with us today. It's very exciting. We have a lot of you have a lot of books out there for us to read. I urge our listeners to go to Amazon, look up Carole Brown, Carole Brown, Brown, and just see the array of books out there. They make wonderful gifts, but grab them and read it first and then give it to somebody. So um, thank you so much for being with us today, and happy writing.
Thank you. It was good to be here.
Thank you.